This Metaventure production is brought to you today by the Samurai Aquatics and Decor Metaventure. Scan that QR code or click that link in the description and dive yourself headfirst into the Samurai Aquatics Discord server to pleasure your peepers on our current and future range of outdoor decor.
Established in April 2021, Upland Development United is the oldest and most exclusive and transparent no development collaborative in the Upland Metaverse. Contact Morecheese at 68 for more information. Warning! This podcast is produced by Metaverse Ventures Entertainment and contains unsolicited and heavily biased opinions which are solely the views of the individuals involved. It does not include investment advice of any kind, and you are responsible for undertaking your own financial, including tax liability research relevant to your own individual circumstances.
Business, we're going to touch on a Metaverse Spotlight, which is outdoor decor logistics as we know them. There's a few points here that I'll run through. We're not going to touch on anything in too much depth. This is going to be a quick kind of overview all about outdoor decor. So if you wanted to have an outdoor decor business, well, first of all, you need to apply for and secure what is now called a Metaventure. Back in the day, that was a simple Google form that we filled in. I'm pretty sure once they open it up, it'll be very similar to the Block Explorer and Legit's process, where again, it'll be a some kind of Google document that you fill in with basic details and that sort of stuff. Cheese, DTech, and myself, we have been saying any opportunity that we can. If you are interested in outdoor decor, do not wait to get that application form to start getting anything organized. Go flat out as fast as you can, build a team now so that when that does come through, it's just the next piece in the puzzle, because otherwise you're going to be way behind the 8 ball. So assuming you've applied for and secured an outdoor decor Metaventure, well, what do you need to do next? Well, you need to create inventory. You need to build the actual NFTs that you're going to be selling. Cheese, did you want to speak about that process, or DTech if he's still on?
I vote for DTech.
I don't know if he's here, is he? Is he here?
DTech.
Paging Mr. Tech.
Save me.
Don't know. So
all right. What was the question?
So you've got the email. You are accepted.
Woo! Okay.
Woo! Party time. Now reality bites, and you actually have to put in the hours.
Yes. What would be my first move?
Yeah, to create inventory.
All right. So if I'm not an artist, or I'm not a 3D artist, but I have ideas and I'm a texture artist, I would hopefully have an artist, partner that I've seeked out. No, it's not DTech. You're muted. You muted yourself. And I would work with them on things that I have created, hopefully previously before this email.
Yes.
And have, everything kind of ready to kind of be put into, be able to give to Upland to see if the numbers are correct.
It's a bit tricky. I wonder if you would think that Upland would put these specs out there. Maybe they haven't done that yet because we're still ironing out the bugs for all the specs. So I guess that's a bit of a tricky situation where you wouldn't want to put too much effort into things without knowing what the specs are, but the specs aren't kind of set in stone yet. So it's a bit of a tricky one.
That was our biggest thing. Yeah. Just getting the numbers right. And it was a lot of back and forth, but the communication was great.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of stressful days. DTech is not muted anymore if you want to save me. DTech.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh my god, I was speaking for the past 3 days, like I was actually saying stuff and my mic was off the whole time.
Oh no.
The past 3 shows. So yeah, right now they have a lot more specs, so it's much easier. So if you're coming in like me with no experience, get as much as you can from Upland in terms of specs and everything, and send in like stuff as you make it, to whoever you're speaking with, so they can correct it as well. Because even if you have stuff made beforehand, you're going to be remaking it, redoing it to make sure it fits.
Yeah. So I'd recommend, probably the biggest thing for us was having a plan of, even before we started making what we wanted to make, was having a solid plan of what we wanted to make. So there is still a lot of work that you can do there, even if you don't start making the final pieces. You could always do like concept pieces and that sort of thing. So yeah, it's a bit of a tricky situation. All right, so we can assume that you've applied for outdoor decor, you've been accepted, you've started creating your inventory. Now, submitting inventory is, again, it's a kind of a Google Doc situation that you have to fill in. And, you know, maybe Detect, do you want to speak about the lottos and the glitz and various things that you had to baby me through? Because I didn't have a clue what we were doing. And I guess that's an important point too. Up until this point in time, the outdoor decor account is secured to whoever applied for the shop. So DTech is the artist in our business. He does all the art. He knows all the specs and all that sort of stuff. I don't have a clue, but because the business is in my name, I have to submit it all. So whether that changes in the future, we don't know. But yeah, DTech lottos, glit files. What's that all about?
What's a lotto?
Yeah. The LOD files, you know, there's
The
LOD,
LODs. Yeah,
LOD.
So,
I
so
watched you do
me
that once, Ben.
yes, absolutely. You both did.
Yeah,
Held my hand a couple of times.
It's been like a week or so, and I already forgot what it is. So when we
like
did the
me.
contest, you just had to submit the design.
Yep.
So you make the design, you submit it, and here they want you to do all the work for the item to be ready for the game. So that's how I learned about LODs, loss of detail. So you have to have 3: the original one with all your details, and then like 2 versions of less detail, and they give you the specs of how many triangles they want for each. So you have to like downgrade it, you know. And I sort of did it manually, so I went back and see how it's going to look from far away. So which things you want, you know, a little more detail, a little less. So you have 3 files to work with, and there's all this besides all the not burning, I forgot what it's called, baking. Making textures, and then, you know, I had to learn how to make textures so that you can see better detail on them as well. There's lots of stuff there with overlapping, and then there's all sorts of little things that you have to know how to set, like everything, to reset everything once you're finished, delete all your unused materials and layers. And it's little things. Now I do it automatically, but each time it was like an item would come back and say, you didn't do this. And until one person from Upland actually explained, like, you didn't do this, and they like wrote, do this, this, and that. I was like, oh.
Yeah, and that's the danger of, that's kind of the danger of working with somebody, like employing an artist via Fiverr.com or something like that, is you're going to have to bounce backwards and forwards and make adjustments. So yeah, it's going to be tricky if you're working with an artist you don't have an actual relationship. That could be quite, I don't know, logistically challenging, shall we say. Now, at the risk of getting a smack, I am sharing here on screen the current process that we have to submit models. More than likely, this will all change once it opens up. But as you can see, you need to say what your outdoor decor model name is. And my gosh, Cheese and DTech and I had several meetings about just model numbers so that we could track everything on the back end. Your Upland email, your username, and then yeah, you got to do Lotto 1 GLTF uploads. Like I barely have a clue what this is now. You have to do Blender files, preview PNGs. You have to.
And I'm just going to say credit for the model numbers and schema idea.
Yes, very good.
I gotta take them where I can, Ben.
Absolutely. Yeah, 3D previews. You have to say what the width of the model is, the length, the height, maximum mint numbers. Yeah, so I mean, even in that information we've shared just there, there's so much work you could do on the back end before you even applied for a business. So yeah, I don't think I'll get in too much trouble by sharing that there. And like I said, but just keep in mind, this is all probably likely to streamline a lot more or change as it goes more open to the wider public.
And I just want to give a shout out to Ben and D-Tech real quick before we move on, just for D-Tech learning everything he did and just rolling with the punches and
Yep.
staying up all those late nights to get the things done. And like, from being a beginner, like, I'm so impressed with his work ethic and whatnot, and Ben's work ethic, like getting everything organized. We look to him for guidance because D-Tech and I are two birds of a feather, where like our memories are
Squirrel
shit.
chasers.
We are squirrel chasers, man. And we definitely need Ben. Like, I don't think I'd be able to do this with anybody else. I just really enjoy our team meetings. I enjoyed this show, and I'm just really grateful for them both and everybody here. So thank you.
Back at you, babe.
Thank you.
Or whatever the cool kids say.
Thanks.
So you've applied for outdoor decor, you've been accepted, you've created your inventory, you've submitted your inventory. What comes next is, well, now you need to produce it. At the moment, we have two types of factories. We have the small factory and the medium factory. We know that large factories are on the way, but we don't know any details about them as of yet. Currently, the small factory has a 2 spark maximum staking amount, and the medium factory, we were recently told, has a 10 spark maximum, which is a significant difference. So yes, the one key point there with factories is that at this present point in time, you can only manufacture with your spark. Like, obviously, I'd love to get onto the phone with the UCC and say, guys and girls, I'm ready to go full speed ahead here. I want to rent 100 spark, but it's just the mechanics just aren't there either within the factory themselves, because the maximum is 10, and the kind of logistics of hiring third parties to help you manufacture it, or the infrastructure, I should say, is not there yet. Potentially in the future, we don't know. All right, so you've got your factory up, you're manufacturing, you've started to finish projects. Well, you need to be able to sell those, and to be able to sell those, you need a showroom. Currently, we only have one version of the small showroom. We do know there's going to be several iterations of showrooms. So there will be potentially several versions of the small showroom. Medium showrooms are on the way, and large showrooms as well. And we expect there's going to be several different versions of those. Now, some key information that we do know about showrooms is that small showrooms, the maximum that you can have listed, kind of like the Block Explorer shops, depends on the size of the property, depends on how many Block Explorers can be listed. Same thing for showrooms. Small showroom, you can have 210 listings, medium showroom, 280, and the large showroom, 420. Now, one thing to keep in mind there is that the size of the building is only one of the limitations. There is a significant bottleneck. It depends on the size of the property that the showroom is on. If you build a large showroom and the showroom footprint takes up the entirety of the property, you're not going to be able to sell anything, because you have to physically place the items that are for sale. Like, after they finish in the factory, you need to move them to the showroom property as well, in order to be able to show up within the UI. So you got to think of it like the showrooms at the front of your property, and all of the inventory that you're going to sell is in the backstage area. So that's not something we were expecting. That kind of come out of left field for us. So that's something we had to work around. But yeah, it's a significant bottleneck if you don't have a large enough property. So anyhow, so
I remember that's what I said. If you wanted to get into factories but not into manufacturing, buy up those big, showrooms and factories, buy up those big properties and just hold them.
Yes, hold on to them tight.
Oh yeah, because I feel like the next wave that's coming in, those will be your customers.
Yep, absolutely. So at the moment, that's the end of the process. So we have our showroom finishing soon. Outdoor decor is going to open up soon, and people will start selling outdoor decor items and that sort of stuff. At present, when stuff gets finished being made in the factory, we just airdrop it to any property we want. We do know that there are transportation and logistics that are going to come in at some stage. So I envision that once inventory is finished in our factory, well, I was one of the lucky people who managed to be able to buy a truck. I'm going to have to pack all of that onto the truck, drive it to the showroom, offload it, and that sort of thing. So there are going to be transportation logistics in place. Just keep that in mind. Like when you're setting up your factory and your showrooms, don't make it different cities or, miles away, other ends of the city. All of that's going to incur a cost that you're going to have to eat for your business.
And speaking of costs, like we wanted to price our stuff really, really, really good. We were only able to price it really good because of the lack of quantity. Like we had an idea of how much quantity we were going to be spitting out first day has been brought back by a great amount.
by a factor of thousands.
So don't underprice yourself, but don't overprice yourself. I think we came up with really decent prices that we probably could have even went higher, but these are our commons and we want everybody to be able to own them, even new players coming in who don't have that much UPEX. And we want the node managers for other communities to be able to fill in their nodes and make them look pretty for not too much. I feel we both feel bad, like especially Ben, because he really wanted these to come out a lot more inexpensive, but at the same time,
I wanted to go super cheap, high numbers, but it's just the logistics of that are out of our hands.
Yeah, it's impossible.
And we have consulted with a number of trusted, reputable people within the game to kind of help set up our pricing too. And like I said, Cheese, DTech and myself will get together at some stage this week and we'll put out a little short video about what our pricings actually are. Again, it'll all be subject to change, of course, but it'll give you an idea of where our heads are at. So yeah, as far as transportations go, there are going to be transportations associated with the business moving inventory, and there will be transportation logistics in future for customers. So we know you're going to have to, like, if you want to buy an outdoor decor piece, you're going to have to physically travel your Block Explorer to 30 Aqua Vista Way, Midtown Terrace, so that you can interact with the user interface, the UI. And I expect that's going to look very similar to the Block Explorer shops. So, there's going to be a thing where you can scroll down and, it'll have the prices and all that sort of stuff. That'll be the purchase mechanics. But at present, at least for release, when you buy that, it will be airdropped straight to your account and you'll be able to put it wherever you want. But again, in future, there will be some kind of transportation mechanic where either us as a business are going to have to do it ourselves or employ somebody to be a delivery company where you come and buy it, but then we deliver it to you, or you gotta have a van and pack it in your van. I don't know how you're going to fit a sauna in your van, but we'll see how we go. So
strap it to the top.
So that's all yet to play out, but that's about as much of the process, without going crazy and digging into actual specifications and numbers and this, that, and the other thing. That's about as much as we know at this point in time. And we have put out a bunch of our Decor team meetings that are on the MVE YouTube channel as well. So lots for you to dive in there. Now, we don't want to hear, it's unfair, you have an advantage, or we weren't ready. Like I said, if you're interested in outdoor decor, you have miles more information than we ever had. So get up and go for your life. And of course, the three of us, we're all open to, questions and that sort of thing as well. So we won't bite your fingers off too hard if you DM us.
Growing, waiting.